Okay, everybody, thank you for attending Mindfulness Monday. This is our mindfulness facilitator, Vivian Hermes. Um, Today in the planetarium, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people. Hopefully we get some people online as well. So Vivian, go ahead and take it away. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason, and welcome all to Mindfulness Mondays. I thought what we would do today is work on something that you can take into your daily life that you can apply just as you're going about your activities every once in a while to check into how you're feeling. And then we would switch practices to something that's more of a cultivation practice of like building positive emotions like empathy. That's the hope anyway, with a practice we can work with in thinking of someone as we practice with them. So you can do these practices. Just for those that are new to this practice, you can do them in any posture. You can do it standing, sitting, and laying down, and your eyes can be open or closed as you do this, all of these practices. Again, whatever is comfortable for you in the moment. So you might start off with your eyes closed and then open them, or eyes open and then close them. Really, a big part of building a personal mindfulness practice is building that wisdom and discernment of knowing what to apply in what circumstance that you find yourself in. So that's one of the things we're cultivating. So with that, I invite you to take a deep breath in through your nose, if that's available to you, and exhaling with a sigh through your mouth. Ah. And doing that a couple of times at your own pace until you feel like you've definitely arrived. You're here, you're feeling the sensations of the chair that you're in. The practice we're going to begin with is actually called See, Hear, Feel. We'll be taking stock of what's happening in our visual field, both external to us, the actual physical field that we can see out externally, and what we are seeing in our mind, looking at and sensing into what we're hearing in sounds, actual physical sounds coming in externally, and what's going on in our head in terms of self-talk. And then the physical sensations, feeling in both senses, the physical sensations we're experiencing on the surface of our body, on the inside of our body, but also those physical sensations that are being communicated and coming into our consciousness from emotions that might be here. So with your eyes open, just invite you to begin to take in the stars, whatever you're seeing. Maybe you're noticing some that are smaller than others, some that are clustered together, some that are further apart. Maybe some are flickering and some are more solid in color. And as you look into these stars, you can use the label of see. And the label, as you use it, you can say it out loud under your breath, in the faintest whisper, or just in your mind. Every 5 seconds or so. As both a recognition of what you're doing, that you're seeing. It may be also as a helpful reminder if your mind has wandered. see. See. Keeping that inner voice very neutral, matter of fact. We're not giving our mind a directive. We're gently helping it stay on track on the activity we're choosing for it in the moment. See. And now gently closing your eyes or lowering your eyelids to whatever feels comfortable. We're going to begin to take in the images that pop up in the mind's eye when you have a visual memory or the visual thinking space. Sometimes, as we're thinking or planning or remembering, we can watch it as though it's a movie in our mind's eye. And there might not be anything there. And that's okay too. If you ever catch yourself in a moment where, with these eyes gently lowered or closed, you're not actually seeing anything, it's just kind of a blank screen or a gray screen, you can use the label rest. So it's okay to see something, and it's also okay not to see anything. Remembering that our practice is one of taking stock of what's here right now. And if you continue to see something, you can label it as see. See. From here, we're going to shift our attention down into our ears, our hearing space. And I invite you to begin to notice all the external sounds, those that are near and those that are farther away. The sound of my voice, the absence of sound. Note any and all sounds that might be coming in. Might even hear the sound of your own breathing. Any rustling or movement. And with these sounds, you use the label here every few seconds or so. Here. 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 Now continuing to note your hearing, but now turning it inwards and beginning to note what sorts of sounds are being generated in the mind in the form of self-talk, if there is any. Sometimes we have an internal audio track that goes with our thinking. And continuing to notice it, getting curious about it, not about the content, but the fact that it's here. And continuing to use the label here. And if you notice in the same way that there's actually no internal dialogue happening, you can note that as rest. And a few seconds later, if you notice that there is an internal conversation happening, labeling it here. Here. Now, with that same exquisite attention that you've been offering your hearing, move that attention to the body and notice in a popcorn fashion, when you notice your body, where does your mind go to? Does it go to the surface of the body? Does it go to a particular internal area of the body? And if it does, what are the physical sensations there? I invite you to feel into them, and you use the label feel. So if there's tingling or throbbing or vibration, if there's areas of pain, areas that are blank, that don't have any sensations, areas that are actually pleasant. So noticing sort of physical sensations are you actually noticing in the moment? And using the label feel every few seconds to help you stay with the physical sensations. Feel. 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 Now we're going to continue staying with that field of experience of physical sensations, but begin to notice if there are any emotions that you might be experiencing right now. There might be a combination of emotions. And getting curious about that emotion, take note of where you're actually feeling it in the body, and if it has any unique sensations that you can attribute to the actual feeling. So for example, if we're experiencing elation or love, a lot of times we feel it in our upper chest. There may be a fluttering, an expansive feeling around it. Noticing what it feels like. Sometimes when we're sad, we might feel our shoulders slumped. Our face hangs, maybe even with a frown. So these are just some examples, but if you are able to identify an actual emotion that's here, you can ask yourself, how do I know that that's what this is? Where am I feeling it in the body? Continuing to use that label of feel. 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 So now that we've completed the cycle of seeing inwardly, outwardly, hearing inwardly and outwardly, feeling inwardly and outwardly, this is a practice that you can do as you go about your day for any length of duration. I'm going to begin the practice of just like me. This is a practice to cultivate our empathy. And if at any point it doesn't feel like it's nourishing or supportive, you can go back to the see, hear, feel practice, any one of those 6, seeing in or out, hearing in or out, feeling in or out, and continuing with that practice. But if you'd like to continue with the Just Like Me practice, I invite you to bring to mind someone for whom it's easy to empathize with, or even someone that you find it challenging to empathize with. So this is a cultivation practice. That means it's something that we have to cultivate, that it's not something that necessarily flips on as a switch after only one time. And as you're thinking about this person who is either challenging or easy, I want you on a scale of 10 to grade the intensity with which that feeling exists. So if the person is someone who's pleasant, whom you enjoy, how strongly do you feel that on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being very mild, 5 being neutral, 10 being amazing. And if it's a challenging person, using that same intensity scale, 1 being not particularly challenging, 5 being, medium level challenging, and 10 being extremely challenging. So this practice is one that's going to help us touch into our own needs and to recognize those same universal needs in this other person. And in doing so, we don't need to accept them or forgive them. We only are going to be acknowledging that despite our differences, we all have certain shared fundamental hopes, desires, and needs. So I'm going to use brief statements to acknowledge what we share in common. And with each statement, I invite you to take note and check in with yourself on how your body feels as you repeat that to yourself with regards to this person. Do your feelings expand, get stronger? Do they wane? And so now imagining this person standing in front of you, we can begin, and you can recognize that just like me, this person has a body and a mind. They've known good health, illness, experienced the gift and advantages as well as the limitations of this human body. They know what it's like to feel pain. They know what it feels like to be absent of pain and experience comfort. In their mind, they've experienced mastery, curiosity. They've also had lapses in judgment, varying priorities. They've experienced forgetfulness, just like me. Taking a deep breath and noticing what that feels like. And also notice that this person has emotions and feelings and thoughts, just like me. So they've felt joy and love, compassion, delight, exhilaration, happiness. And just like me, they've had their fair share of sadness, of grief, regret, loss, anger, frustration. Just like me. Noticing what that feels like. And this person has, at some point, been sad and disappointed, hurt, confused, just like me. They've experienced physical pain, emotional pain, and suffering, just like me. Noticing what it's like to hold that. Taking a deep breath if you need one. You can recognize this person wishes to be free from any pain and suffering that might befall them, just like me. But this person has the deepest wish to be healthy and loved, to have fulfilling relationships and friendships, just like me. And that this person, in whatever skillful or unskillful ways they know how to, wishes to be happy, just like me. Now taking a moment and let the mind explore and reflect on if there is any other way that this person is just like yourself. Just like me, this person wishes to be safe. They wish to be strong in mind and body, just like me. Now noticing how you're feeling in your body. Coming back to the scale of intensity. How intense of a feeling were you experiencing right now around this person who you brought to mind and reflected on? Is it the same level of intensity? Has it gone down? Has it stayed the same? All of them are possible in this exercise, so we don't judge it. Again, it's just more information to learn about ourselves. And as we round out this period of practice, we can reflect on the fact that we do practice as individuals. It's this body that we inhabit and this mind that we carry. But as we practice, the hope is that the fruits of the benefits that we gain from it are things that we can take into all of our interactions with people that we know and those that we just encounter. And it can manifest in terms of more kindness, more patience, more compassion and generosity in our actions and in our words and in our thoughts. So really, although we practice as individuals, the benefits ripple out to anyone that we come into contact with. Just taking a moment to give yourself a bit of gratitude for taking this time for yourself. And in the same way that we began, taking a deep breath in and exhaling, Taking another deep breath in and exhaling, gently allowing the light to peer into your eyes if they were closed. I want to thank you all for joining. I hope these are practices you can take into your day. You don't have to spend a half an hour doing them. You can definitely do either of these practices within seconds. So thank you all.
Thank you very much, Vivian. Really appreciate that.
Sure thing.